Welcome to a new video of Yoga for Jiu Jitsu. In this video we will work on our hips, because you have probably heard it and noticed it as well that most of the movement, if not all of it, in Jiu Jitsu comes from the hips. In this video we will work on flexibility, to avoid injury and just to move better and feel good. All you need is your mat. If you have a strap or a belt, grab that too. Let's begin. Find your way into downward facing dog. Keep the knees bent if you want, especially if it's early for you or you feel extra stiff. It's more important to move the chest towards the thighs. Push the ground away. Press into your fingertips, press into the inside of your hands. And maybe start to slowly straighten your legs and bend. Move around a little bit. Start to connect to your breath. Take a few deep breaths in through the nose, maybe out through the mouth. And connect with that stillness within through the breath. And bend your knees again. Step your right foot outside the right hand for lizard lunge. Straighten your arms, lower your hips down. Maybe move your hips side to side. Always like to move in my stretches. Just feels really good. And there's really no reason not to do that. If you want more, come onto your forearms. Try to bring the right forearm down to the ground first, or just bend the arm. You can also use a bolster or a couple of blocks. Make sure the right knee feels good here, and you always want to avoid any sensation in the knees, so make sure the toes are pointing in the same direction as the same side knee. You can also bring the left knee down to the ground. Feel free to stay here or start to lift the knee back up, walk the hands forward, and then lower the left knee back down. Maybe lift up one more time, walk the hands even further forward, and lower the knee down. Breathe into that sensation in your body. Wherever you feel this, breathe into it. And slowly walk the hands back. Bring the left knee to the ground if it's not already. Bend your left knee, and then reach with your right hand to your left foot. Maybe use a belt or something else like a strap or so to wrap around and grab. And then first extend your left leg into your right hand. And then slowly relax and gently pull the left foot towards your hip. Engage your glutes, move your hips forward and down, find that twist. Maybe look over your right shoulder. We're opening up the left hip flexor, the left front side of the hip. Slowly release. Plant both hands down, back to downward dog. Maybe shake the legs out. And then over to the left side. Step your left foot outside the left hand. Straighten the right leg, lower your hips down, keep the arms straight. Feel free again to move around. Already look down to your left toes and make sure the left toes are pointing in the same direction as the left thigh. We always want to keep our joints safe and healthy. And again, there's no need to go deep. Depth is never the goal. You just need to work with what you have today. Every day is also, or can be, very different. And feel free to stay here. If you want to go deeper, come onto your forearms or on a bolster or on blocks. can open the left knee out to the side. Maybe the inside of your left foot lifts up. That's perfectly fine. Flex your left foot a little bit more. The right knee is lifted or down. And lift it up. Walk the hands forward. Find even more depth here if it's accessible for you, if it feels good. And then lift up again. Walk even further forward. And release. Come onto your hands, right knee down to the ground. Bend your right knee. Reach with your left hand or a belt to your right foot. Flex the right foot, extend the right leg away from you into your left palm. Feel that pull on your left shoulder. And then rebend the right knee, soften the right thigh. Gently pull the right foot towards the right hip. Look over your left shoulder. Move the hips forward and down. Keep the right arm straight. Externally rotate the right arm. Keep pushing the ground away. And release. Back to downward facing dog. We will now find our way to a seated position, so you can float the legs through or just walk the feet forward, cross your ankles and sit down. Find a comfortable cross-legged seated position. So whatever that means for you, maybe it looks for you more like this. You can bring the feet closer together or wider apart. Take a deep breath in, lengthen out through the spine, and then walk the hands forward, fold forward and down. For now, it doesn't matter which shin is forward. We're going to do both sides, so don't worry. And maybe for you this looks more like this, and that's perfectly fine too. This is a lot in the outer hips, in our lower back. This is actually how I started with this stretch, probably more like this. Because it was very painful for me to, because of a lower back injury, to do this pose, this stretch, and so I started doing it every day. And then over time, the pain went away. The lower back pain is now gone, and this just feels really good. Use a block or a bolster for your head if you want. Just relax here. This is a very different kind of practice than vinyasa style or power flow style class. It's more in the yin area where we hold and relax and rest into poses a lot longer, up to a couple of minutes. You can move around if you want to. And slowly come up, switch sides, cross the other leg in front of the other leg, lengthen out to the spine and fold forward and down, walk the hands forward to whatever depth and degree is accessible for you. See more how much you can let go, focus on your breath, breathe deeply in and out through the nose. And also explore if you can send that breath into the parts of your body where you feel the stretch. Maybe close your eyes. This is really one of the poses, or the pose that helped me overcome sciatic nerve issues that I got from an injury in Jiu Jitsu, where I had pain all the way down my right leg. And so I started doing this every day and really helped. I think it's really mostly because of this pose. Especially if you're sitting in a desk a lot, it's good to stretch out the lower back, open up in the hips. Our hips just get so tight and so stiff from sitting in our desks, and a lot of the movement and mobility comes from the hips for Jiu Jitsu. And so working on the hips is really important, not just flexibility but also mobility and strength. And I will put up some other videos where we work more on mobility, more dynamic movements that really help strengthening the hips, moving better. Slowly release. So feel free to take this one again. Actually, let's do something more dynamic in between. Bring the feet down on the ground, maybe as wide as your mat or wider than your hips. And then rotate your knees over to the side so that both knees are on the ground as well as the feet. And then come back without using your hands, come back to center and then over to the left. Over to the right. Maybe you start to feel this in your core and your abs. One more to the right. And let's do 2 more each side, but I'm going to do a different variation. When I come back to the right, I will come up from here without using the hands, like this, move the hips forward, and then back down, over to the left. So 2 more each side. Nice and slow, maybe it's just 1 for you. The reps really don't matter that much. More important how controlled, how slow you move, how much awareness can you bring to what you're doing. And back to center. Now you can do the cross-legged forward fold again if you want, or I'm gonna do the next progression from there, which is double pigeon, which is also very, not difficult, but kind of challenging for my hips because I feel like they're still very tight, especially in this pose. So it's kind of like cross-legged, but you cross the right ankle over the left knee, and so that ideally both shins are right above each other. If you want less, then bring the left heel, in this case the bottom heel, closer to your hip. If you want more, then bring it more forward. And try to bring both of your hips or butt cheeks on the ground, and then stay there. Stay nice and tall, sit nice and tall, lean forward a little bit. And you got to be really careful with this one, especially with the bottom knee. If you start to feel any sensation there, then better back off a little bit or bend the bottom leg more. If you feel good here, then walk the hands maybe more forward. Let's be here for about 1 or 2 minutes. And it's important to give the body time to open up. I think a lot of injuries happen because people want to go into the pose too deep, too fast. And so it's important to give yourself time, give the body time to open up. Close your eyes, focus on your breath. Keep both feet flexed, that also helps to protect the knees. It means that the toes are pointing towards your knees, so you're really active in your feet, in your toes. Maybe you have some good music going, or you just enjoy the silence. Slowly release. It's also important to come out of the pose slowly. Switch sides. Use your hands for support. Maybe shake the legs out. And then stack the left ankle on top of the right knee. And then adjust the bottom heel, bring it more forward for more, or closer to your hips for less. I'm going to do something in between. And I think the end range or the full expression of this pose is that the top knee is also down at the bottom foot. But, I still feel the stretch right here, so I can't, and I also don't need to go that deep. Maybe over time my hips will open up and I will get the knee down, maybe not. That's perfectly fine. As long as I feel the stretch and I know that the body is working and that the pose is working for me, then that's all I need. You need to work with what you have. Especially in the Western world, we didn't grow up sitting on the ground a lot, just like how they do in India or so. They sit on the ground for doing pretty much anything. So they're always with cross-legged, and so those poses are very easy for them because their hips are so open. But since we sit on chairs a lot, our hips usually are not really designed or used to something like that. I also like to bounce a little bit here, side to side or forward and back, just so that it feels good and I can feel more into the stretch. Keep the feet active to protect the knees. Now I explain all of this a little bit more in depth, and we also hold these poses for a longer time. But if you do this after your Jiu Jitsu practice, or if you want to do this throughout the day or in the morning, or integrate that into your yoga practice, no need to hold this for so long. But just know that the full effect really comes in when you hold these stretches for a few minutes. And you really start to increase the blood flow and the flexibility in your fascia and also all the tissues around it. Maybe 15 or so seconds to go. Slowly release. Take your time. Sometimes when you hold these poses and you come out of them, you feel like you're really old. I feel like I'm 100 years old. But that's normal. So let's finish up our practice with one more last pose with butterfly. Bring the feet together, the soles of your feet. Something symmetrical to wrap up. And then grab your feet if you want to and fold forward. There's also a variation where you can bring your arms underneath your legs and then grab the feet and then fold forward. Whatever works for you. Try to keep the spine long and first to come into it and then start to round your back. So maybe you feel this more in your upper back or lower back than in your inner thighs. If you want more there, then keep the spine even more straight. Grab your feet more and then just pull yourself a little bit more forward so the chest is more moving forward. So 2 variations in this pose, whatever you need today and whatever works good for you. If you have a bolster or a pillow handy, put it in between and just relax on it like this. It sounds very comfortable to me right now. Slowly release, plant your palms, straighten your arms, push yourself back up. Use your hands to bring your knees together. Shake your legs out. Maybe extend them forward and shake them out. And come to a seated position. Sit nice and tall. Take a moment here. Lengthen out through your spine. Lengthen the crown of your head up. Place your hands wherever it's comfortable. Just take a moment to breathe and notice how your body feels a little bit different than before you practiced, before you started this video. Bring your palms together. Thank yourself for investing in yourself. Thank you so much for practicing with me. With love and gratitude. Namaste.